It's the second installment of Eswatini Men's Conference. You know what? The first time was so nice, we had to do it twice. My name is Mfundo Simelane. They can introduce themselves. I cannot wait. We're here to discuss very interesting conversations. And please do not change the dial. Make sure that you call your friends to call your other friend and call the other friend so that we make it very interesting. And comment right below. We'll make sure we give you feedback when you are done. So, lady, would you like to start?
Hi everyone at home, my name is Tunilem Bukwane and I am joining this Roses for the Men's Conference section 2.
Do you feel like you're part of the men? Like,
No.
Are you considering changing?
No.
Not anytime soon.
No.
Okay, you're fine with.
No, I'm just
Are
a
you
lady.
happy?
Very happy.
Okay, it's fine. All right, sir.
Hi everyone, good afternoon colleagues.
Course.
I am Gcina Dlamini, Sergeant Gcina Dlamini from Babane Police Station, from the Domestic Violence, Child Protection and Sexual Offences Unit.
Yeah. So guys, because Nyabona say part, so the conversations mfana, each and every conversation that we're going to have here, is secure. Kind sir, my friend.
Actually, right now I feel like I shouldn't be introducing myself. Actually, because
Anymore.
like everything has been said.
Oh,
I
okay.
feel like I'll just be in the shadow of, But
Shadow
with that
of
being
wings.
said, no wings. No
Oh,
wings,
okay.
No
I'm
wings.
sorry.
Yeah, no wings. But with everything being said, my names are Dumsani Njobo, and some people know me as Banana Mamba. I'm a psychiatric nurse by training. I'm founding director of Eswatini Mental Wellness and also a psychiatric practicing nurse with the government of Eswatini currently. And I'm a mental health fanatic and it's a policing DC, but
I could see with the English danger about I was going to run out soon.
So I had to catch up with the surgeons.
And I want my back because being out with this color that's our pela code. I don't know, man. Like, how do you feel? Did you go say change and then psychiatric nurse director and then
Oh
Are
no,
you happy with yourself?
I'm happy with myself, but just I am a nurse midwife practicing as a midwife at RFM Labor Ward.
Yeah. So
my
you
job,
bring life.
My job is to bring life. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And also, I do need to mention that we were very happy to have you guys amongst our panel. We tried to get the best of the best, so if someone had said that you are mediocre, let them watch this show and they'll think again. So thank you so much for coming through. I know very well you could be anywhere in the world, but you decided to come through and share your most valuable knowledge, and please relax. The folks at home, Nani, please relax, get your popcorn. It's about to get thick. You know what? In my whole experiences, focusing mainly on mental health. There's a lot of injustices that have been dominant or predominant, and I'd like the gentleman and the lady, of course, and you at home to actually dive in, get a bit of knowledge, because apparently stogeleng apal, and one of the biggest things that I actually want us to talk about is the issue of SOTV, and then probably because SOTV is really broad, we'd like to talk about things such as consent. I'll skip you because you bring life into it. I jump straight into the sergeant because I really need clarity on a lot of SOTV issues that are pending and that have actually skipped a lot of guys, and some of them are already behind bars, so they've faced the wrath of the law already, so they might watch Konale Chele now.
Thank you so much, Mnguni. It's a privilege and an honor for me to be part of this forum. I was here last year.
Yes.
We did share some issues concerning SOTV.
Yeah.
And today I am here to talk mostly about consent, which we didn't deliberate much on last year. Yeah. Consent is a very critical part on sexual offenses. Actually, rape or sexual offenses are the most dominant on the SOTV Act. And when you are looking at the definitions, mostly of all the offenses in the SOTV Act, they touch on unlawfulness as the key element on almost all of them. Then when you come into unlawfulness, it mostly rests on issues of consent. So that's why I have come here today to talk about consent, because consent is mostly misunderstood and misconstrued in many ways by people out there. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. I hope everyone gets. We have to go. We have the law. We also have information, like quality information. As by chance, I would say, I bypass. They're very experienced in the field. Mr. Mamba, when in your field, because me and you have seen each other sharing a cup of tea, well, except for today, on different occasions, and I think you're a mental health enthusiast. That's how I would like to put it. What do you bring on the table today? Because the sergeant has touched a bit on Nagzanen SOTV. What would you like us, or maybe what would you promise the people to conversate on?
Well, I would say, Mpundo, it's generally on the basis of mental health and how mental health is of great importance to men, since we are speaking about men, and also riding on the tide of the issue of consent, because consent much interest to say the individual being a man is someone who has to be in a good state of mental well-being. So I'll be speaking about men's mental health in relations to the environmental stressors, which include the litigation, which is the SOTV, the Child Welfare Protection Act, with regards to the environment, expectations, influences, the social circles we have, and also how most of these things are also cornered towards the interesting, pleasurable, fascinating jolo. Because as men, there's that element. Which in my area of interest, it says, as a man being involved in a relationship, you need to be a man of good mental health. You should be mentally okay, mentally stable, mentally cognizant of what you're getting yourself into, in order not to find yourself in crossfire with the litigation, with the environment, with the morals, with the morality.
It's enough.
No.
So that was
it's like it's revenging, man.
You stole my English.
I'm sorry. But thanks to your Bongo, right? I know. So thank you so much. And the people at home, please do know that all the COVID-19 rules and regulations were followed as we took this shot. I think I can put it like this. As we shot this shot, we did take the necessary precautions. Mrs.
Hi,
Valentine is coming. Where's your boyfriend? You said you work at the labor ward, and basically you give life. Unfortunately, we have a huge statistic of, let's just say, humans in the country that decide to take away their own lives. And mainly, or let's just say, they commit suicide, and they put achievements right next to the suicide. I think I read a year ago, around the world, Eswatini was number 17 in suicide. I felt good. Eswatini is number 17. I felt like it's a top 20, at least for something. Suicide. Okay, we're in the top 20, but it's for the wrong reasons. Yabo. So excitement yami vele yaphela la as the giver of life, or maybe as someone who delivers life and achievement. What would you give us when Anamutle goes, okay, this is my specific point of view. This is what I'd like us to discuss.
In terms of suicide and achievement.
Yeah.
I'll say if we're going to be comparing ourselves with other people, like I was sharing the previous time with you, Guzi, that personal. So if achievement is so personal, because to me, having to sit here and have a sergeant next to me is an achievement, because no one at home has sat next to a sergeant. So like so I think like achievement is personal. So if achievement is personal, then achievement shouldn't be making us commit suicide. So because I'm going to understand that Ndosh, I am a nurse midwife. Obviously I cannot perform like him because he's a psychiatric nurse for reasons. So I think people need to just accept their level of achievement and not be too hard on yourself. Don't base your achievement on other people. Just because you doing so well in one area of your life doesn't mean that I'm not doing well. Even if we are doing the same thing, even if we're doing the same thing, if I get 10 and you get 20, I shouldn't like compare myself with you, because that the ingredients are different, the people are different. So like that, so I would say achievement, base it on yourself, and then don't compare yourself with other people, and then you will not feel like an underachiever.
Ukuba content emntaneni. Nivile, just have to be content.
Exactly.
So I'll skip and just go to the sergeant. Sergeant, you have so many SOTV cases, and most of them are rotated around consent. One would ask, little consent, because we've had incidents lapho khona abantu bese bayigcokise kahle bathi it's a revoked consent, but angifuni ukuthi sigcine sifikela kulo revoked consent. Ngifuna siqale nje ukuthi usichazele ukuthi yini yona le consent, so everyone nosekhaya atokhona kwathi ukuthi okay consent nak nasekasa so asasiko consent. The panel will also join us and ask, of course they have questions, because I'm sure they're human beings, they've got feelings, they've been in situations like bona khona ukuthi okay ngazuthi this time around bese kungasasi consent bese sihamba sitimikise police station asuka la.
Okay, thank you Mnguni. I won't go to the maybe legal explanations, because that is the problem at times. Because at times that is the problem that end up making people not understand well, using too much of the low jargons, the low words. So I will try to make it very general and understandable. I will define consent as an agreement between two people to do a certain thing of a certain desire to one or both of the people. Of those people, yes. I will define it as like that. Then I will talk about the issue of consent, because there are times whereby people who are involved maybe in a sexual act will believe that the other person has consented, whereas that person hasn't consented, or maybe even that person cannot consent legally, because in law there are those people who cannot consent, even if he or she can say yes to a sexual act, but by law that person is incapable of consenting. I will make an example of those people. There are these people we are saying they are children. Children is defined as any person under the age of 18. Both the Constitution, the SOTV, and even the Children's Protection and Welfare Act, it defines a child as any person under the age of 18 years. So that person, as per the SOTV, cannot consent to any sexual act. So you cannot come up with a defense that no, she said yes, he said yes. Yes, he did say yes, but that consent is invalid as per the law. Then there are these kind of people who are psychologically oppressed.
Yes,
people under duress, they don't consent to sexual act. Maybe someone can ask, how do you see those people? But maybe we'll talk about that on a later date or later today. Then there are people who are drunk or under any intoxication. Those people, they don't consent. Yes, they don't consent. I go with him. I go with him.
Let's just say that's what normally happens in these entertainment sports. I will not. I almost dropped the name. That's what happens in these entertainment sports, whereby I buy you a drink, and then after buying you 3 or 4 drinks, I feel like I own you. Are we saying that's wrong, or we're saying I can't marinate? What's the conversation?
Even if maybe you can get that person of yours in those social circles, you find him drunk, you'll have to wait for her to be sober.
That's too long a time, cause like
where are you rushing to? Where are you rushing to? Then there is this technicality I want to talk about.
Yes, of course.
In consent still. There is this principle, and it's enshrined on the SOTV. These principles of consent, which says you cannot infer consent by reason of character or sin. Yes. By being your girlfriend, it means you are entitled to litanzi anytime. He has to agree to a sexual act.
Two words.
What
would you say to that? What would you say to that?
I would actually say, in the sense that when I spoke about men's mental health, I touched on litigation and moral obligation. And the most fascinating thing is it feels like a fairy tale when you listen to it from an expert and looking at it from the morality of society and the expectations. To say that one way or the other, this whole thing is not a foreign concept. Because generally, morally, there are things you need to do when you are in sound sense of mind. And from moving away, deviating from the morality, moving to the hype of groove, forgetting the litigation, we find ourselves on the unlawfulness of things, which we have made to be our new normal, which is the abnormal. We have grown to the part where a microwave is applicable to everything. For me, a microwave is not a thing in the kitchen. It's a concept. A microwave generation that I want a malalula quick. A groove, na 300. I'm scoring it. If a relationship left, I'm scoring it. And any person in a sound sense of mind wouldn't really do that. We are technically a microwave generation. And us being microwave, without us even realizing that actually we are taking a walk towards the blue building.
I think Mino was sliding. I think
I'm trying to be lenient here and be nice.
Was sliding into your office, because you know when I would see them send marinators, the one I found my love or the love of my life, and the next morning you wake. No, that's hypothetically saying. Then when you wake up next to me in the morning, I did not wait for you to be sober. You did not wait for me to be sober. How do you react to that, especially now that you know we're going to be wrong? Because now when that game, it's wrong.
It's wrong. True. I know. I always feel like besides this thing of alcohol, like you're saying that people we want we are the microwave generation and we want so quick things. You want a fast relationship, you feel like it. Like, so I've always felt like, you know what, just because you are buying me things doesn't mean I owe you something. Just because we went to a groove and then you just like bought me alcohol doesn't mean, first of all, I shouldn't be waking up next to you, first of all. I should be waking up in my home,
but now
in my bed.
Goes to the morals. You know, what if the morals, when Sister Bettina came on, I threw the morals away. And I feel like, I'm going to lose it.
We should just bring back the morals, Ped. Bring back the morals.
Okay.
Morals says, if you find a drunk person, just drive the person home.
But the morals were toilet saying, like when you wake up and realize morals creep in. So how do we react from that situation? Because we can't play it by the book. Oh yeah, this is how you're supposed to react. Yeah, well, there's times whereby the morals wash here in getting like a grooving. Yeah, but so what do we do in those situations?
Like now I'm waking up in your house.
Yeah.
We've done the act.
Yeah.
I was under the influence.
Yeah.
When I did, I think it is wrong legally and morally, obviously.
Okay.
And then some women, you find Bankuba, Vula Emarip, they are not well informed.
They're
That's number
violated.
one. Number two, they feel like he had the right to, even if I am informed, I feel like he had the right to, in the sense that he spent so money on me, like Hennessy, Malin, and then you end up not even reporting this person violated you.
Yeah.
So I think it's something that we need to wake up from, even us as people, because I won't say women, because it's not like it's only women.
Yeah. And goes Lapa, I really like the way the topic is like broadening up. And I will not only improve as in the people that actually consume alcohol only as labang number one perpetrators in this occasion. I really want us to go to church, because we also experience such incidences. I think my headline, it's the guy who shai piano, wala the praise team young, because what do we say in those incidents? Because we can't leave the church out. Because now they are doing a lot of things. How do we get consent inside the church? Because they do. Because whether you go to church or you don't go to church, you'll always have a sexual urge. It's biological.
Okay, me on my part, I am choosing to concentrate just on the legal aspect.
Okay.
If they are engaging in sexual acts in church, maybe the others will talk about the morals, the church morals. I will talk about the legal one. If there was consent between a keyboard player and a praise team singer, and the consent and the consent was valid, which means no one was intoxicated, no one was below age, no one was under duress, psychological operation, no one was asleep.
What if
it's fine?
The illusion, because I'm not.
You are drunk in spirit.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe. Okay. I cannot say it's illegal, but morally, because we as Swazis, we cannot shy away from morals. It's not okay, because in church we go for this. Then this is completely not correct. It's wrong. Morally, it's wrong. But legally, there is no problem. I want to talk about this second and third principle, which I was talking about concerning consent. Yes. Then there is another one which says consent. Again, it cannot be inferred by reason to the sexual act.
Okay.
Which means by being silent, it doesn't mean self-male.
Okay.
No, it doesn't mean that. Technically, that is unlawful consent. That is unlawful consent. Actually, he or she didn't consent. It can maybe she had not to say anything. Maybe she was too scared. He was too scared. Maybe she was still shocked on what is happening. Then realize later, maybe even when you are done, that you were violating her or you were violating him. So consent cannot be inferred by reason of silence, and it can also not be inferred by reason of words. If those words were by force of violence or a threat, a real threat or an abstract threat. Yes.
Ngiyakubona nje mfowethu lo ukuthi uma nguvakashele ngegirlfriend and you do not of course consent to my sexual kochanalo legama lesingisi
sexual act, let's say that, yes.
Yabo bese sokuwena ke ngabo 2 uthahamba.
Yes. Okay. That is a threat. Or else let's just go to a straight rape, because we do have rape cases whereby the rapist didn't assault, didn't do anything violent to the victim, but the victim just submitted. Maybe you are walking alone on the road. You are a guy. You come across a guy, and the guy is scared. The guy, maybe he is carrying a bag, and in that bag, you can see that it must be a weapon there. Then the moment he comes across you, he puts the bag down and grab you to maybe a nearby forest. You cannot say no. You cannot fight back at times because you are scared of the man, number one. Number two, you don't know what's inside that bag. Maybe if you start shouting, that person can be violent towards you. So you will just be quiet and
you submit.
Yes. Then when we are going to court, this person can argue on consent. There was consent, but in reality, that consent or a threat of violence or an imminent threat of violence or an abstract threat.
And then the third one.
This was the third one. You were not counting.
You were young shy. That one was quite interesting, and I made a couple of notes because, especially lo si kuba bete la magama lo washo, but at the end of the day, we technicalize it as rape. Say we are in the middle of the session or maybe intercourse, and then I decide revoke the consent and probably remove
the condom. Yes, which was part of the
initial agreement.
Yes. Okay, let me start with the condom issue. Okay, in as much as it is not explicit on the law that when maybe of the package
initial agreement,
yes, it's a crime. It's a bit tricky, that one, I must say. We have had cases like that, and they are a bit tricky because in the SOTV I haven't seen such a provision which talks about that.
Condom use,
but the SOTV is wide, maybe corn, but I haven't seen such yet. Yeah, it's a problem. Maybe it was an oversight or an omission, but but I will look at it, and we will talk about it with the prosecutors because it's a new issue. Yes, it's a new issue. I have dealt with a case recently whereby the lady came and say initially we agreed to have sexual intercourse, to have a sexual act. Then while in the middle or at the end of the, it was no longer a condom. My agreement or my consent to the sexual intercourse was because there was a condom. But if I knew there wouldn't be a condom, I wouldn't have agreed. That is a problem. But we will look at it.
So what classified it as rape somewhere somehow.
It is rape. Yeah, it is rape. It is rape. Yes. Then is this issue whereby I will consent in the middle of the act. Every person has got that right to change his mind or her mind. But it's a problem. It's a problem. That's why morally, I guess my colleagues, they will talk about that one. They will talk about that one. It's good, it's wise to think about these things before doing moments of excitement or whatever into doing a sexual act. This is something that you have to think about and make sure you are doing it at the right time with the right person under the rightful circumstances, so that you cannot find yourself changing tune in the course of the event.
Okay.
Yes, because yes, you have a right to change minds. You have a right to revoke the consent in the make.
Yeah.
But it will give us a problem
When
in
the
court.
initial-
Yes, it will give us a problem in court, because how are we going to prove that you revoked the consent? And what language did you communicate when changing the consent? Because sex is something that was done, it was created maybe in another way. When we are there, we find ourselves under those spirits of sex, such that I cannot trust everything you are saying when in the sexual act. And yes. And some people, when you are in the act, will be enjoying.
Yeah.
And enjoyment is portrayed in different ways. I can enjoy, but saying no, you see. So how am I going to tell that this person, the no she is saying,
Yeah.
how am I going to tell? That is a problem. And even in court, we can even have trial within trial, talking about this issue of consent, because it will be a problem to prove that you revoked the consent. Hence I say people must think well before engaging in sexual act.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dlamini. Mr. Mambala, uyabona ukuthi utokele ngaphansi.
No.
You're safe.
I'm a good child.
Yeah, good job.
And because you're a good child, I'd really like for us to take a tangent and nibble on something in as far as we'll link it with the consent, and then we'll also link it with mental health under subsection Jolo.
Okay, because here is just elaborated with the very nice use of language to make everyone understand it nicely.
Yeah.
From the angles of mental health, when you speak of consent as a contract.
Okay.
It is a contract.
Yeah.
Because it is a legal binding agreement, which is a verbal one. And in order for you to get into a contract, you need to be in a good state of mind. He made mention of the people who are not eligible to consent, people who have psychological suppressants or psychological issues. So it speaks directly to mental health, that if you are mentally okay, it is only then that you can consent. Which calls for one to be of a good sound state of mind, be mentally healthy, in order for you to say, now I'm getting into this agreement, knowing the term of the agreement, because any agreement has a threshold. We are agreeing to engage to this for time immemorable. For instance, in spaces of umjolo, when you get in a relationship, we hardly say we are jolaring for 3 minutes into umjolo for the forever.
Yeah.
But we know the forever comes to an end.
Because 2 weeks.
Exactly. And that is dependent on the issues of the terms of the contract.
Yeah.
Which speaks to when you can revoke the consent. If we are agreeing, I'm now writing on the issue of the condom, for instance, what Umlang here mentioned. We are agreeing to this act with a condom. That's part of the two.
Yeah.
And as a person with a moral obligation and as an individual in a good state of mind, I know I have to adhere to the criterions that we have placed with, okay, we are doing this because of ABC. Without ABC, we are not. And if ABC is removed, it means the deal is off.
Not the initial.
If we order a lemonade, wangnega Sprite, lelengunatsako aksi lemonade Sprite, gona go sparkling, but akusibo lelenguqelile. In as much as it can be as nice as or even more nicer, it's not the what I ordered. I will take it because probably I'm agreeing to the second provision, which I have to say I agree to. And you can only do that if you're in a good state of mind. I'll keep emphasis on that part because that's where the mental health comes in. And for that, coming into umjolo mfundo, we have a problem, particularly, I'll play the devil's advocate on this one. I'll punch the nails on men, since I'm also a man, that we have developed a tendency of getting into umjolo when we are not mentally okay. We get into umjolo for rehabilitation. Umjolo is not therapy. It has never been.
For you to get over.
No. In order for you to get over something, you need to be alone. In order for you, because the moment you're using someone else to get over the other, literally you are making the person a catalyst. Once you are done with using this person, they are no longer of use to you. And technically, very umyuzile, because you were getting over the what you were not able to do it alone. Why are we being cowards? Using a catalyst, like individuals with feelings and emotions, when we know the fragility of emotions. And it's even worse with men. We don't want to face our demons because of ego. We are very egocentric. And but men who have a fragile ego, it's beyond being even fragile. It's like a touch and break kind of a thing. A man's ego is dependent on a man's mental well-being. If you are mentally okay, you know how to massage your ego on own. On your own. You know that when I am dressing up, I'll be like, yes, boy. Today you did the things that makes the game. Waiting for the first lady you're going to come across and say hi, and you wait for them to like, oh wow. If she goes like, bruised ego. You are now hating on her, and you even look at the bum and say, oh yeah, elephant bums. Yeah. Why are we doing that? Because you didn't get the validation you were looking for, leaving home. You are mentally unstable, my friend. There is something missing in you. Your self-esteem is shaky. We have lots of men going around seeking validation from umjolo to make their manhood make sense, which is a very big problem. Umjolo should be something for leisure. Unfortunately, umjolo is a full-time job. Because you have to take care of someone's fragility, which are the emotions. And like when we speak of immorality is based on social principles. Morals are morals as a big band. I mean, you know, in Mpuleni it's quite easy to be like, you know, and when you get to Emaplingo or maybe in the burbs, you don't go. That's violation. You need to find a nice way, probably come in with a bunch of basket and flowers and be like, hey, this is me saying hello. Babes morality. It's different. And with that, you need to be a person who is going to able to filter the environmental impacts of the way you are with the who you are interacting with in order for you to make the right and informed decision, which will this the how you're going to do them jolo the game. Because getting in a relationship when you are mentally okay and when you are mentally strong, mentally adequate, self-actualized, where you know that this is me, I am who I am. Mfundo, have you ever dated a person who will tell you up front, it's like, now I have drama. Now I like talking.
I am bipolar.
Hey. You know, relationship with someone who is so self-actualized that they'll give you a brief of their personality. And it's up to you as a man to decide whether you're getting yourself in there or not. Other than the situation whereby you get yourself in there on false appearances. And when the real person appears and you're like, hey, what the fuck? Hey.
But now, isn't that a toxic trait for you to get in a relationship and tell that particular somebody, the minute you come into the relationship, could say, hey, I'm bipolar, hey, I'm stubborn, hey, bangat na sekai. Because that's the thing. If you are like telling me bangat na sekai.
I think it is toxic to go around telling people that you are stubborn, you have trauma, because once you realize that you have trauma, I think you should work on your trauma. But also, it is good to tell Dosh, I have trauma. But so if you're coming into me, be ready for drama.
But now the question is, how do you want, or how would you like me to react to your drama? Are you coming into my life and want me to rehabilitate your drama, or you're coming in my life and just want to show me?
Okay, I think Mfundo, on that one, just to jump the gun, I think it's in two ways. You know, and in most cases, in the most positive part, when someone comes in and they tell you that, Mfundo, I have drama, it's on the aspect of saying, understand me. In you dealing with me, deal with me while you are cognizant of the fact that my personality is like this. You know, when I'm going to call you and you don't pick my calls, I'm going to call 5 times. Like instantly, I'm going to drop you an essay.
That's obvious.
I mean, so in that instant, you then know as Mfundo that dealing with this, I don't react like I'm dealing with a person who is not dramatic. Yeah. Because by calling 5 times, mama, right there in front of you, and you know, the moment you're seeing it, it's like, oh yeah, I've been told about this. Yeah. You know, the moment where you meet someone, it's like, I've been told about you. When you come across the thing, it's like, oh yeah, I've been waiting for you. I saw it coming. But the negative part is when it's going to happen and the person is like, I'm here to make your life living hell, my guy. Oh yeah. Because I am dramatic. And that's the moment where, as a person of sound mind, you're going to avoid getting yourself in conflict, because you are not going to get the consent sergeant will be waiting for. The consent will be revoked a minute after it has been given. You'll be like, the moment you're jumping into it, you'll be like, and I don't want any more. That kind of drama. Yeah. They want to make your life a little bit of some pain. While you're like right in the thick of things, driving all the way to Makuka, and the answer is, I no longer want to go to Makuka. Stop the car. Yes, stop the car. And you basically do what? If you're a man of morals and responsibility and good sound mind, you're going to stop the car and you go back to Mabani.
Hypothetically speaking.
Hypothetically speaking. And in the case you don't do it the way it is lawfully, you'll find yourself greeting Babel Lamin Lapangesia, and in the most unfortunate circumstance, you'll be the one branded as men are trash kinda. Because you couldn't adhere to the call that stop the car. Which was very evident.
What happens, I like the men are trash side, but what happens to the female versions of females are trash? Whereby they will be the ones they'll be the ones that perpetrate such violence, because I read somewhere that there's some women that normally punch their guys when they have an argument. Some throw food at them while they have an argument. Some throw water, you know. And we have a fan club of them. I'm telling them, that's I'm guy. you know, and taking a phone. Papas and smash the phone, and
usually words given to those people with trouble, crazy girlfriend, abusers nje lawo.
Period.
Perennial abusers. Period. Who needs to be reported. Those are abusers.
Okay, there is this.
Defending women or.
There's nothing to defend.
No, I don't condone abuse. Whether it's perpetrated by a man or a woman, an abuser is an abuser. But I think men lie. Yeah, I'll say I think men lie, because when you say Fundo, go and report abuse. Fundo will be like, in the police station, my points are have you ever had cases? Maybe, let me just ask in percentages. How many times, in percentage, do men come and report spousal abuse in a week? Okay, maybe how many times?
I will say, the way they report, it's different. I'll say they report in 2 ways. The number one, I think and go to the police station to report a domestic violence case. Number 2, it's when the lady will come to the police station to report a case. Then upon talking to them and investigation, we find that the man has been abused. Then the man reports on that stage. But on the first one, I will say it's now. I would say it's 6-4. 6 female, 4 men. But in the previous years, vele bebanget. But now they are coming now. They are coming.
Because maybe it's because you have a unit specifically.
Yes.
Cases.
Number one, it's the unit. Number two is the enactment of the SOTV. Because it provides for some things which were not provided for by the common law previously. Then is the establishment of the unit, because now they are able to come at the police station and ask to go.
Well, they'll get privacy.
Yes. Otherwise, when you are doing an analysis, more especially on the domestic violence, because SOTV is divided into two parts: sexual offences and domestic violence.
Yes.
When you do a quick analysis using our studies and even the unreported, because we don't just investigate. There's a lot we do as a unit. We not just investigate and arrest. When we do that analysis, we find that the domestic violence cases, I would say the female gender becomes the most perpetrated.
Really?
Yes. When you look at the violence as per the SOTV, it's physical, it's emotional, it's sexual, it's financial, it's verbal. Malicious injury to property and stuff. When you look at all those types of abuse, the females, you find that they are most abusers, but their part is on the emotional part. They mostly abuse emotional, and we still have that. We still have that belief as a society that emotional abuse, I cannot just go to report that. She has to beat me first. He has to beat me first. So you find that the females, they will abuse emotionally. Then men get agitated and they respond physically. Then the woman will go to the police.
Okay.
Just to interject, Mfundo, on what Ngozi is saying here, on the issue of emotional abuse being mostly perpetrated by women. It's a precedent I have seen myself on the consultation room in terms of provision of therapy. In most cases, the men would hardly go to the police station. Number one, there is minimal evidence into it.
True.
It's only just a word of mouth and how I feel. And the how you feel is very subjective.
True.
I'm feeling now. And how I'm feeling now can only be known by me. So there is this also a negative from what we have inherited as part of society morals and expectation of men having a huge threshold of tolerance. We have developed a threshold of tolerance which accommodates emotional violation more than physical violation in responding towards whatsoever stimuli is coming. Because for men, it's very easy to say, you have made me angry, I'll just go outside, talk to my friends and come back. And for women, if you have probably done something which is going to violate them emotionally, my guy, you will go and buy the bouquet of flowers because the pot will be steaming. And the person will still be showing that they are furious. They will present their emotions as they are. And for us men, we usually keep our emotions to ourselves to say, I don't want to be seen breaking down. I don't want to give the person the satisfaction of making me cry. Which then in turn brings me back to the point I mentioned earlier on about getting into umjolo. As a man, in order for you to get into umjolo and have a happy umjolo life, a substantive one, you need to be mentally healthy to be able to pick the moments whereby you are emotionally violated. Because it takes a man who is mentally okay to pick when he's being violated. There are moments whereby you will be financially abused without you even seeing that you're emotionally abused, but you're thinking it's part of loving the person through good desire. When you are desiring with what you don't have, you're being violated.
But I think men have money and everything. Like this guy was asking me out, and then he was telling me he can do anything for me. And then me, I'm like, oh, you can do anything for me, in my mind. But you're driving at Dubai. Like, why are you driving? Like, why aren't you buying a local car, man? Because if you have money, you should be driving GT6 so that we can see the money. So men sell us the idea that they have money, and once you sell me the idea that you have money, I'm going to want the money. Yeah. And you're not going to say no, and then you're going to go to Mashonisa and ask the money to give me because you sold me the idea that you have money.
But imali ihluke ngithu unemali ukuthi unemali yokwenda noma ngabe yini bese kuba nale mali yokuphilisa.
But this one said he has money.
And then I would say
saying he can do anything for me.
Drift. Actually, I think it's one of the biggest mistakes we make as men. We know when we're selling fake dreams in order for us to. The problem in that case, the person is giving you what they think you need to hear for you to endorse them, to be what you want in life, assuming that's what you want. Because we get in relationships on the basis of assumption that if you see a beautiful lady over there stepping out of a Mercedes-Benz, the first thing you think of as a guy who is not self-actualized and self-validated, you think in order for me to approach that lady, I need to be moneyed.
Yeah.
Moneyed, number two, not the first one, moneyed to the point of having the financial power to spend willingly, openly, and freely. You feel like that's what you need to have. Only to find that when you speak to that lady, she's not after the money because she has her own money. You know, the real independent woman, because you do have the independent women who are independent in the way they speak. In the way they speak. In the way they speak, but in terms of living life, they're absolutely dependent, but they present an independent forte. So in this case, you'd find that someone will sell a fake dream, thinking it's what's going to make them feel like a man. The man with inferiority complex, inferior because of what you own, which is a very big problem in issues of self-esteem. Because self-esteem is on the basis of how you look at yourself. Back to what you said earlier on the issue of comparison, basic achievements. When you're looking at what someone has achieved, we've got individual personalities, fingerprint personalities. We might also have the same qualification and same everything, but the difference in qualification literally says we're going to have different achievements at different times because we're different people. So even when you get to Mjolo, don't look at a Valentine gift yandosh to girlfriend work and think, we are a groupie, even my girl. Even my girl would want to have the same thing. Now, so it's when and you find your girlfriend feeling like, yo, baby, you have outdid yourself. Because Ndo shoot out saying a bouquet of flowers, letting about 200. I'm not putting you under pressure, my friend, but you know, when the other person does that, when you start feeling like I need to do the same thing, only to find you are now putting yourself under immense pressure. You doing the unlawful things because the moment you do all the things beyond your capabilities, you will override consent, I can swear. Because you will start feeling like you are entitled on the basis of how much you have spent. And you feel like you need to get the returns and the rewards of the money you've spent. You have invested old mutual, they are 10-year police when I was 2 months.
Well, before we even because it's getting heated and we're getting more and more in-depth knowledge, quality of that matter. I really want us to touch base one last time on the topic I think we highlighted at the beginning, the success. You're speaking about self-esteem issues, success can never be compared to someone else's success. What would we say, because common cause is our parents, cases, because mainly, let's just say 14 to 25, because of it's either it's social pressure or it's pressure from parents. But parents stand out because they want us to achieve. If we're not achieving, they want you to overachieve. If we are doing this now, they want you to do more. It's more like you are furnishing your parents' dream, because some never really make it to UNESCO, but they qualify to go to sport. But now you'll find an angry parent because you never made it to UNESCO. But now you want to continue doing what you want, especially what if you like scored? So what do we, because I want us to put the parents into the picture as well as the main perpetrators for these suicidal cases. This is Tina's figure, you there.
Okay. First of all, I always tell my parents, like my parents are all very no, like we talk. This is it. No, a lot of things you guys think this is about you, but I'm not disputing that. It's about you, but more than anyone else, they want to make a decision and then they disagree because based on because they have their reasons. I'm like, okay, Margaret, but I understand your point, but this is more about me than it is about you. So if I am qualifying to go to Scott, and when I feel like I need to be at UNISWA, you may go to UNISWA, Margaret. Yeah, but I mean, I am qualifying to go to Scott, because the other thing is going to say, sometimes you qualify to go to UNISWA. Sometimes you qualify to go to SANU, but you don't like SANU. Yeah. So I'm going to go to Scott because the things I want to do is in Scott. Yeah. And then I'll find myself doing in nursing immediately. I'm an engineer. How am I supposed to touch blood? I hate smelly places. I hate them. So when you want me to go and be a nurse, how? So you just tell your parents, Guti, yes, Maggie, I know, Guti, when you have dreams, maybe you wanted your child to be a nurse, you wanted your child to be a doctor, but I have my own dreams too. And when you are going to die, like, yeah.
So we graduation.
Yeah, but like.
Okay, let me have a say on this one. Let me have a say on this one because these are issues we deal with on an everyday basis. Like I told you, Wutsi, part of our job as the domestic violence unit is talking to families, mediations, counseling and stuff. So these issues, they come to our office. So I would say, maybe in relation to what my colleague has just said next to me, I think it shouldn't start maybe at telling the parents what we've just said. Maybe it should start with educating them, giving them your insight. Yeah. Yes, because most of our parents, they are educated but to a certain level, you see. Yeah. So you find them that the only tertiary institution they know, yes, it's UNISWA. Yes, they know. Ubang dokotela, ushayela indiza, ubaliphoyisa, yeah, maybe but labasemakhaya bathi bamele. Yes, yeah, soldier. Yes. So you have to tell them that there are other professions outside there. There are engineers. The roads you are traveling on are being designed. They are being constructed by people who are learned and are earning a lot. You have to educate them, I will say that, the parents, and tell them that those people who are studying the engineerings, road engineerings, the civils, the building and designs, they are not at UNISWA. They are at Scott. Some of them are at Limkokwing. Some of them, they are at William Page. Yes, then you can come into the party, which maybe they are bullying you maybe into UNISWA, but you can't say they are bullying you when they do not know. When you look at the CPW Act, on the first sections, they talk about child rights. There is a right which every time when I go to people, to communities to talk about the CPW Act, the right of opinion. There is a right of opinion for children. So what happens? The spirit of the law says when you are planning as a parent, when there is something you are deliberating or you are planning which is of interest to the child or it's for the child has to be involved. And age and maybe mental maturity of that child, you see. So that is when you as the child, you will have to explain to the parents, this is what I want because of this, so that they can even see the mental maturity in you. Don't just dictate that I want to go there and leave them there. They will be judgmental. They will want you to go to UNISA because you haven't explained.
Okay, to add, but then sometimes it's not about that our parents don't know other professions. For the longest time, UNISA has been the only university in the country.
Yes.
And actually, I don't know who sold people the idea that it's an high achievers university. So it's not even about the parent understanding that when you want to do engineering and it's offered at Scott, it's about the ego of the parent and wanting to go out to say, hey, you understand? This is not, it's sometimes it's not even about the parent understanding.
Maybe it's time
I'm telling
maybe
you,
it's time they also change Scott to university. Instead of being a college, because
you find a parent ngingasho ukuthi imfundo psychologist lapha eNazarini like okay mage, we just want to know.
Nabafika la sibhedlela the community noma ngabe iye ga OPD but awufuna kuya uyobona the psychologist before
so sometimes it's just like for the parent to crowd and avengazi uthi my child has achieved. So that is when you just have to like put your foot down, not to put it on your parents, but then know yourself, know what you want, because my parents are old. One day they are going to leave here, and when you are stuck in this world, when there's something that you didn't like and you were forced by your parent, would say so that back change.
Just to chip in, I think
I want the mental health perspective from that.
I also believe, in as much as we have articulated it very well, starting from what she said and what Umlangeni said over here, how we need to break the chain, which is very fundamental. And she was touching base on the last better critical part of it, how you, as the individual affected, finds a way of making this work beyond what the parents has. Because in most cases, the parents we have, they are old people, yes, because they are our parents. They've got brains which are very functional. They might not be as literate as we might expect them to be, but there are cases whereby you've got the most literate parents, your PhD holders, being a parent, but still having the same mindset. Exactly. The unfortunate thing which usually happens is it's usually on the assessment that the parent, when looking at you, they look at you and they don't see the fire that you feel you have about what you want to do. If I want to be an engineer, I need to convince my parent even before talking to my parent about being an engineer. You know, when you're doing something, you put the energy into it, you invest towards it because you know this is what you are capable of. This is what you aspire for. This is what you desire. This is your dream. And you start doing things, building blocks towards what you want to be. You know, I'll just make an example about this example we're making of UNISA in Scott. If while you are still in school, you are not even exhibiting any single thing that shows that you want to do nursing, but you are hands on deck on issues of engineering, you are literally manipulating your parents' mind to say they should assist you to get to this thing you are very skilled in doing, of which we are drivers of our own, in a way that we need to do it through behavior. Most people in psychology will tell you that behavior is the best teacher. For anyone observing you, they look at the way you behave in order for them to understand who you are and what you want. I, for one, personally, I'm one of the few people who would say I was able to change the decision on the road to say, I don't want to do this anymore. And I went to the parents and they'll be like, why now? It's like, no, it's not working for me. And there is that moment of glitch, which is the transition period whereby you are going to have a difficult spell, where the parents will feel like, do your thing like you say you want to do it, we shall see. And the moment you come out successful because you have invested yourself into it, they'll have the right to gloat about what you really want. And you really don't care about that because it doesn't irritate you. Instead, it's like your parents are your number one fans. You know, when they hear you speaking on radio, they'll be like, he did that because he wanted it. That's my boy. And when you are not feeling the pinch because that's what you really wanted. Imagine the pain of your parents saying, you should go buy the OPT, the therapist when you don't want to be a psychologist. You'll be freaked out because you don't want them to be gloating about this thing because it's never what you wanted. But if it's what you wanted and you made them realize you want this more than their satisfaction and gratification, and you present the picture to say, if you are really that much fascinated about UNISWA graduation, Scott graduation, well, you might as well book yourself a ticket every year to go and watch it because I'm going to be graduating in Verts. You've never heard of Verts, but I'm going there. From Scott, I'm going to Verts. I'll take you there. And I'll make you sleep in a hotel, something they've never done before. Wait until the time comes. They'll come back. They'll come back and talk to people. It's like, hey, Nene. When people are talking about, if you hadn't gone to Joburg, I ain't saying anything. I'll just let you be. That moment you have influenced your parent to see you, like Umlangan said, that there is mental maturity on the issue of opinion. As a child, if you want to have your opinions heard, you need to have your opinions valued by you. And whenever you are having thoughts, just put a little bit of some VAT on your thoughts when you're putting the price tag. Make it a little bit expensive. Someone else is going to like feel good about it and feel like, I want this. VAT is key.
Wow.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this was our Eswatini Men's Conference, live this time digital. Try to make sure we reach you lapon kona makaya. Do we have any parting words from you, Mr. Mamba, Mr. Lamini, and of course, Ms. Mbugwane here?
The parting words will be, let's have a party of a mental health society. Like, be mentally well, everything shall be well.
Wow, that's good.
Mr. Lamini?
My parting words, maybe I would say, let's stay away from crime.
And that sounds cliche.
Mine is to say, know yourself, don't compare yourself to people, and you'll be happy. And you'll have their mental health society.
And yes, just to sum it all up, parents, there's about 8 intelligences. Please Google them, find out in which kind of intelligence and not force them. We would see when they maths. Anyway, shout out to all our sponsors. Thank you so much, Chi Executive Lounge. Thank you to our videographer. Thank you to the lady and gentlemen that came through. Thank you to the bar lady that made sure we were well equipped with drinks. Thank you to everyone. Shout out to Dr. Sheikh. Shout out to Londi. Shout out to Lucio. Thank you so much for making this thing possible, gents. Next year, probably different panel.
We're coming back. We're coming back.
I love you. I meant each and every word that I said. Oh, so are you gonna come to me tonight so we could dance? So we could dance, dance, dance.